Hey there, you're watching a sneak peek from the Everything EV podcast. If you like what you hear and want to catch the entire episode, head over to Spotify or Apple Music and find us by searching for the Everything EV podcast.
We've actually got some exclusive data on car insurance to talk about.
We have. Yes, I've been speaking to the nice people at GoCompare to find out about. Initially, I was just trying to find about what are the cheap and expensive EVs to insure, but it turns out as we've dug into the data, it turns out that electric cars are now cheaper to insure than petrol cars on average. This is one of these myths that I think we're very familiar with. You see these questions: why are electric cars so expensive to insure? And the truth is that they're not. Actually, they're cheaper. They're about 45 on average. They're £45 a year cheaper than a petrol car. July this year, the average quote for an electric car was £832, and the average quote for a petrol car was £877.
Excellent.
We need to caveat this. Obviously, this is based on GoCompare's internal data. So this is quotes that they've given on cars. So it's not absolutely UK wide, but they're one of the biggest comparison sites out there, and millions of people use them every year to look at insurance. So it gives us a pretty good picture, and it's great news for electric car owners.
Excellent. So from the data, what's the cheapest to insure?
Right. So the cheapest overall is the Mitsubishi i-MiEV. Now, I don't know if you remember the i-MiEV. It was a sort of slightly peculiar looking little, very, very early electric car from Mitsubishi. Never really sold in big numbers. I think they sold it from about 2009 to 2014. But it's the cheapest. And it's £359 a year. It's the average premium for that.
Excellent.
There's a couple of other oddballs in the cheap list as well. The Renault Twizy is another one. Another really sort of tiny, peculiar, sort of slightly out there EVs. But then you've got things like the Fiat 500, the Smart 42, the Skoda Citigo. So the kind of thing you'd expect to be fairly cheap, small, relatively low-powered city cars. But there's some, fairly mainstream stuff in there. But just out of curiosity, because obviously Mitsubishi is a bit of an oddball, so is the Twizy, I asked them to give us the mainstream cheapest models as well. So these are things like the most quoted for vehicles on the site. And so that threw up, again, some of the usual suspects. So Nissan Leaf is the cheapest of the most popular models. And Volkswagen ID3, MG4 all feature in that. So it's these sort of sensible family cars, and they're coming in cheaper than petrol cars now.
Excellent. I suppose begs the question, what was the most expensive to insure?
So this is where it gets fun. So on average, EVs are cheaper to insure, but there are always the outliers. So the BMW i7 xDrive 60 M Sport, which takes forever to say, will cost you a lot of money to buy, as we know. Will also cost you £2,750 to insure on average.
Well, it's probably because the insurance company got to pay for, if you have a rear accident, they've got to pay for all those letters on the back of the bonnet or back of the boat even.
Got to rebadge it, okay. It's the kind of things you would expect in that list as well. Taycan, the Porsche Taycan Turbo S is the next most expensive. It's over £2,000 as well. Tesla Model S Plaid is up there. Again, you've got 1,000 horsepower and a left-hand drive car. Yeah, it's quite expensive. Now, what is it you drive at the moment, Richard?
I've currently got an Audi e-tron.
Yep, that's next on the list.
Okay.
But it's fine because you're getting rid of the Audi, aren't you? You're replacing it with something else.
Yeah, I'm getting a Lotus Electra.
Yeah, that's next on the list after the Audi. So,
okay.
Congratulations.
Excellent. I have to say, seeing a little bit of this data before we recorded, I did actually speak to the kind people at Admiral, who currently insure my Audi e-tron, and hopefully will be insuring my Lotus Electra. And I think I probably should put on some sort of, special Martin Lewis hat here for the purposes of research. I'm actually able to say that the Lotus Electra is £180 cheaper to insure than the Audi e-tron, coming in for me just nudging 50 in February, and it will be £800 a year, which I have to say staggered me, considering how expensive the car is. That I was really genuinely surprised in a positive way. So yeah, I can't wait to take delivery.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. I think compared to what the average quote for that car is, you're doing not badly there.
Exactly. I mean, some of the horror stories of 2,500, 3,000, etc., which I have to say, did scare me. One of our colleagues was looking at replacing his car last year, and yeah, he was literally, he's sub 25, and he was literally priced out of any sort of Tesla market. They were looking at equally at 2,000, whatever, silly numbers, and he was able to get very comprehensive, decent cover. Equally with Admiral again. We're not being sponsored by Admiral. They just happen to be a good insurer for electric vehicles. And I think he's paying about 1,100 for his Polestar. So yeah, I mean, it does. You can do it if you look around.
Yeah. I think Teslas are interesting. Actually, you mentioned that because we looked at, obviously, I said we looked at the most popular models, or the most quoted for models, and Teslas came up. And actually, once you filter out the outliers like the i7 and the Taycan and things, Tesla Model 3, Model Y take up 6 of the 10 most expensive places on that list. You're talking a minimum of £1,500 on average for a Model Y.
Ouch.
Yeah, I think this is maybe where this theory that electric cars are expensive to insure has come from, actually, is that there are models, and Teslas have been, unfortunately, quite a bad example of that they do cost a lot. I think insurers have one or two issues with Teslas that mean people get quoted, thousands and thousands.
We're almost going back to last week, and maybe we should actually be excluding Teslas from some of the stats because they're skewing the data.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we'll take Harry Metcalf's approach and just ignore Teslas.
Is there a specific reason why Teslas are really expensive to insure?
I did a bit of reading around this, and there seem to be a couple of issues. I think one of the things is, Tesla like these big single piece pressings for body panels. They don't do lots of little panels linked together. They do big single pieces, and that means if you have a bump, even a fairly minor one, you can end up having to replace a big chunk of your car, which obviously is quite expensive. I think also in the past there have been issues getting parts. Sometimes there's been quite big delays getting the parts because you have to get them from Tesla and they have to come from the US or they have to come from China. And so from an insurer's point of view, that potentially means massive courtesy car bills while the car's off the road being repaired. So I think they add up. And also it seems that Thatcham, who are the people who set insurance groups, they seem to have a couple of issues with the way that Tesla's security systems work. I don't know if it's that you can unlock your phone, unlock your car with your phone. You've got these credit card things that Tesla use, but there's something about it Thatcham doesn't seem keen on. So they've whacked Teslas with like some of the highest insurance groups out there, which obviously means you're going to pay more for cover.
Yeah, I think it's probably also important just to say that these were all done by GoCompare, so there might be some differences elsewhere, etc. But
yeah.
But yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to this clip from the Everything EV podcast. For more engaging discussions and the full episode experience, head over to Spotify or Apple Music and search for the Everything EV podcast. See you there.